Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I saw the an extender that this guy on YouTube put on his roof. Are you talking about that?
No, those
Okay.
work for some people. Where I live, there's not even enough signal for one of those.
Oh, well, I have to stand on a rock and put the phone about 2 feet over my head.
Yeah,
So,
let me find a link for the one that I use.
okay.
I bought mine from Verizon, but I think they sell them on Amazon.
Okay, well, while Kevin's looking for that, let's get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the um, Thanksgiving edition of the Tucson Macintosh User Group meeting, also the Veterans Day edition, and also I'm glad we're done with the Election Day edition, at least for 2023. Um, Looking ahead to next month, we will be meeting on December 19th at this same virtual location. And we will have a Ask Me Anything, Kevin, easy for me to say, Ask Me Anything session hosted by Kevin, and an accessibility minute with Chris Wesselman. Tonight, Roger Harmon will be recapping the October 30th Scary Fast Apple event, where they introduced the M3 processor for the iMac 24-inch and the MacBook Pros. Also, we will be doing our 2023 Geek gift guide. And to that end, I have posted the show notes for the Geek gift guide to TMUG Talk. And so you can get all the links there. In December, we will welcome Professor Marty Jenkins, who will be joining us from Ohio and enlightening us with his talk about the apple of my AI. Now, everybody's talking about AI, and there's even AI included in Zoom now. I saw something flash on the screen earlier. And I still don't really know what it is or how to access it or when to access it. And maybe Marty will be able to give us some insight as to how to get started for that. And come and join us in December, and we will look at that. So we have several MacStock presenters. Marty was one of them. Have agreed to give us presentations over the next several months. Marty will be here in December, and in January we will have Jill McKinney, who is known as Jill from the North Woods on the Allison Sheridan's Podfeet podcast. And she will be recapping her talk from MacStock as well. So we got a lot of good things coming up. And I would like to talk about the South Jersey Apple user group swag that we got last month. And I'm going to play a short slideshow and then go back to Zoom. If this is going to work, it should work. Zoom and share my screen. And look for that one, not that one. Oh, and Marty's with us tonight. Welcome, Marty. Thank you. I was just talking about you, and I was even saying nice stuff.
That's scary.
It's not showing up for me here, so I'm gonna cancel this share and maybe I'll play it later on. Get out of that. But we have a lot of this swag still left, a lot of posters to give away, and it's free to everybody here. The quick story is we had a Tucson resident call us up or contact us, and her father was a past president of the South Jersey Apple user group. And he had a bunch of this stuff, a lot of posters and some shirts and so forth that his daughter ended up with, and she knew how much it meant to her dad, and she wanted to cut down a little bit. And okay, stop that. Wanted to cut down a little bit, and she did want to see it go to people who would want it. And so there's a bunch of stuff available, and I have the shared iPhoto or photos album copy, and I'm going to put that into the chat right now for everyone. Paste. And feel free to take a look at that stuff. And if there's stuff there that you want, you can have it for free if you come to my house and pick it up. If you want it and you don't want to travel to Vail, Arizona, you can contact me and I will mail it to you as long as you pay the postage. So we've got some of this stuff in the hands of people who want it, and we have a fair amount left. So go take a look and you'll see a bunch of stuff there. If you open up some of the things, they'll see a little note at the bottom corner, and that'll tell you how many in quantity that we have available for those items. Okay. We have a virtual door prize during our Zoom meetings, and last month the winner was Logan White. And I don't think Logan's here as yet, but at the end of the meeting, please make sure I don't close the meeting without picking the door prize winner. We also have the super raffle. To be eligible for that, you need to be a TMUG member. Also, you need to be a TMUG member for the monthly door prize. And if we can't identify you from the name that you have, you ain't going to get the door prize. Are there any other announcements? Something I forgot? Good. Are there any for sales or wanted to buys? Okay.
The survey form is posted on the.
Thank you, Kurt. That's normally posted by Bob Doms, but he's running late tonight, and he's asked his beautiful assistant Kurt to fill in and post that up there, and he'll post it again later on toward the end of the evening. So we're going to move on to our Apple news and security update with Ridge. Ridge, are you ready to take on? Take it over. It's all yours.
Oh, well.
Your audio works.
Oh, well, let's see what's going on with. I had it running, but now I've got to go get it again. Well, let's see. Everybody, you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. And it's October and November because last month I could not connect to the meeting. So I've combined the 2 months. And here's the beginning of the files that have been updated since the last time we had a presentation. 1Password and a bunch of Adobe stuff there. And then if you're using the Affinity programs to take the place of Adobe's Creative Suite, they've got updates. And you can see alphabetically the additional items that are there. Probably what's really important is some people use BB Edit, that got updated, and Carbon Copy Cloner for sure. And then Chrome for your iPad and iOS and for your Mac. And Firefox as well. And here's the next group of standard programs that we're likely to use: Graphic Converter and iMazing and Little Snitch, importance. And if you're using Office, it's up to 16.79 now. And whenever you see the word through, it means there were several additional updates between those two. And let's see, what else is Spam Sieve? Yeah, that's got 2 good updates, and Super Duper and Tech Tool Pro. And if you're using the Windows on your Mac, Fusion got updated, and Parallels also got their desktop program updated. And the latest Zoom we're using is now 5.16.10. And Apple had updates as well. If you're using the Pro AirPods 2 version 2, it's got a firmware update. And Monterey, Ventura, and Sonoma all had updates. And you can see the others alphabetically. And all of the professional programs that Apple has, they got updates: Final Cut and Logic Pro and MainStage and Motion. And some more. If you're running Safari in Ventura and Monterey, it had a couple of updates now. And if you're doing anything with iMovie, that had updates. And the operating systems for the iOS and iPad, they have had several updates. And the Watch operating system got updated as well, depending on if you're using watchOS 10 or 9. And then the iWork apps, Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, they got updated to 13.2. Same version for the iOS or for the Mac OS. And coming, we got the Monterey, another one coming for Monterey. That's in beta. And Ventura has got an update coming, so is Sonoma. And of course, the iPad and the iOS operating systems we're watching for their updates. They're in beta. And TV and watchOS, and eventually, probably next year, we'll see Vision OS. And if you're a programmer, Xcode 15.1 is coming. Now, as far as the financial report that Apple released a little while ago, they made $89.5 billion in revenue, and they set a record for September quarters for iPhone revenue, and they had a services revenue all-time high, and they declared a dividend. Now, this is what Black Friday is, what Apple is doing for Black Friday. They're going to be giving out Apple gift cards from $25 to $200 based on which Apple product you purchase. You're going to have to purchase an Apple product, but an iPhone 15 and the M3 iMacs and M3 series MacBooks will not qualify for the gift card. And Black Friday will be starting late Thanksgiving Day, and it'll go through Cyber Monday. And here's what Apple has released: a new Apple Pencil variant last October, calling it the Apple Pencil USB-C. That's in contrast to the $100 Apple Pencil, the first generation, and the $129 Apple Pencil 20 generation. But this new Apple Pencil USB-C lacks some of their features, but it's only priced at $79, and it's shipping this month. And it's compatible with USB-C iPad models and 10th generation iPads, but it's not pressure sensitive and can't be charged wirelessly and doesn't have the double tap feature. Here's a patent application that Apple has gotten approval for, and it's a patent for fluid cooling of electronic devices with an electromagnetic piston action powered by an alternating current power supply. And that's, you can see the cold fluid coming in with a permanent magnet that starts the pumping action. And it's hot because the heat source is on top of it, letting its heat go down to this magnet area, and it's going to transfer the hot fluid to the cold fluid, and the hot fluid will go out and dissipate there in the housing. Anyway, and the Emirates is going to equip 20,000 of their cabin crew members with Apple hardware, and they have a program called One Device, and it's going to be enhancing their in-flight services for passengers and crew. So the hardware includes iPhones and iPads. Now, here's a problem with Mac OS that was reported by Howard Oakley of the Eclectic Mac, and he says there were several problems with Mac OS 14 Sonoma and the iCloud that can affect your Time Machine backups. Upgrading to Sonoma for some folks brings a slew of problems with iCloud and iCloud Drive that spill over to stop Time Machine backups from completing. And in which case, a call to Apple support is recommended so that iCloud engineers can intervene and fix your account storage so that it works properly. And maybe Apple is going to provide a fix on the next Sonoma operating system update, but we'll have to see about that. Now, here's Apple's services. They noted last month that they're raising the prices of its 3 services. And it's now Apple TV and Arcade and News Plus are now up, and you can see the ending prices there. And Apple's bundles, called Apple One bundles, they went up also. And they're now, you can see what they are now down there at the bottom of the screen. Okay. Now, here's what an X-ray look is for Apple USB-C cables. And you can see there that Apple has a whole bunch of stuff in the connector end of their USB-C cables, as opposed to what Amazon and Nice TQ and Atifewer have. Although they cost more, Apple's cables much more than the 3 that comes from Amazon, Nice TQ, and Atifewer. Apple's cable is truly built to be durable and support the specification that it says it has. The company that conducted the image scans of these 4 cables found that Apple's cable is much more intricate than the cheaper ones, and that you're getting more for your money. And that Apple's cable has metal shielding, strong strain relief, and a printed circuit board assembly with 24 pins that are all in use. And there are 3 different wires that correspond to its data and charging abilities. And number 3, they call the Apple Thunderbolt Pro cable a stunning piece of precision engineering. The one glaring issue of the in-depth study of these cables is that the Amazon Nice TQ and 84 cables are not Thunderbolt cables and are only meant to be used with USB-C. Here's the rumor section now. Some of the folks online suggest we won't see Macs with M3 chips until early next year, with all Macs upgraded by early summer. Well, we've seen a couple of Macs get upgraded, but not all of them. And another online thought is that all the iPad models are rumored to get updates before the end of this year. Well, maybe not. But the latest online guess is that all the iPads are going to hit organic LED displays by 2026. And one online guy thinks that the MacBook Pro line will not get the OLED displays until 2026 or 2027, when the M4 and M5 Apple CPU chips are available. How about iOS? Will iOS and iPad OS 17.1 arrive around October 25th? 4th? No. Well, that's of course a rumor that's partially been come true, so press on. Now here's on November 6th, Apple confirmed to Macworld Online and The Verge that will not be making an Apple Silicon version of the 27-inch iMac. Instead, they're focusing on the 24-inch iMac model and suggest pairing the 27-inch Studio display with the Mac Mini or Mac Studio if you need a larger desktop display. And their latest guess for a new iPad is sometime in 2024, a new one, and a 12.9-inch iPad Air be in the works. Will it? When the iPad line is updated, who knows? And another thought online is that Apple is considering the less expensive 12 to 13-inch laptops in order to address the education Chromebook market. Now they're thinking that since they're not going to have a 27-inch iMac, they're asking, will there be a high-end 32-inch iMac in 2025? And they ask, is Apple planning on a foldable iPad for next year or the year after? And how about Apple working on an AirTag 2 for 2025? Well, we'll have to wait and see on all of those. And as far as nostalgia go, and as of November 14th, Apple has no longer sells the optical disc installers for Lion and Mountain Lion. However, you can still freely download them from Apple's support site. And of course, we still have cloth logos and pins. If you contact me or Captain Kurt Blanchard, we'll organize a way for you to get your hands on one or both. Thanks for your attention for this part of my presentation. Now we'll switch over to items of security interest. And of course, as far as software that has had security updates, Adobe had all of those programs that they publish released with security updates: Photoshop, Bridge, InDesign, InCopy, Acrobat, Reader, and After Effects. Google also updated Chrome with 50 total fixes up to the 119 blah 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 123 version for the Mac. And Mozilla updated Firefox for the Mac with 12 total fixes up to 1802. And Microsoft had updated Office for Mac from 1677.1 through 1679 with 8 fixes. That other software that had security fixes, specifically GIMP, got updated. And this is the Apple software that had security patches released. Monterey had 27 total fixes on their way to 12.7.1, and Ventura got 31 fixes up to 13.6.1. Sonoma had 45 total fixes up to 14.1. And the Safari release for Monterey and Big Sur had 3 fixes. And the Safari for Ventura and Monterey had 9 fixes. tvOS got updated with 4 fixes, and the iOS, iPad OS 15.8 had 1 fix, and the iPad iOS up to 16.7.2 had 33 total fixes. And then the 17 version of iOS and iPad OS had 27 total fixes on their way up to version 17.1. And the Watch OS had 15 total fixes on its way up to 10.1. How about cybercrime? There are researchers at a company called Jamf Threat Labs discovered a new malware that can give hackers access and control of a Mac once that Mac has been infected. The malware is called Job C Shells by them, and it appears to be connected to a company called, or a group of hackers called Blue North Advanced Persistent Threat, a group that usually targets banks, cryptocurrency exchanges, and venture capital servers. That malware can run shell commands that are received from the hacker's server, effectively giving the hacker control of the Mac. That malware can also get information about the Mac, such as the version of the operating system it's running, and send that information to their server, which can then be read. Jamf also says this malware is delivered via social engineering by convincing or tricking a target to install it in some way. So protect yourself by getting all your software from trusted sources, such as the Apple App Store or directly from the developer. And so in the event to try to be ready for all of the bad stuff that's out there, Macworld Online recently just said that the best paid version of antivirus software you can get for the Mac is called Intego Mac Internet Security X9, which is about $50 a year. And if you're a little cheaper and you don't want to spend any money, there is a free version called AVG Antivirus for the Mac. Thanks for your attention. And of course, the moral of the story is stay safe. And I will now stop sharing.
Thanks, Ridge.
Thank you, Ridge.
All right.
Okay, now We're
Before
going
you go, Bob, can I mention something?
go ahead.
There's a new malware that's out called, I think it's Atlas Malware for Mac. What it does is if you go to a wrong website, it'll tell you that Safari needs an update. And if you download the update, it will install malware onto your Mac that will steal all your iCloud passwords, as well as a bunch of other things. It's really nasty. The good news about it is that Malwarebytes will find it and remove it.
Good.
But it's out there in the wild. I had one client that actually got it, and we had to change all of her passwords for everything because everything was stolen.
So don't believe everything you see on the internet and
Well,
download stuff that you're not absolutely positive of, which is a very good moral to tell you.
Well, if it's on the internet, it must be true, right? Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to Roger, who's going to take us through the scary fast announcements that took place on October 30th on All Hallows Eve. Roger, you're up.
Well, thank you, Bob. I am assuming that you can see the scary fast.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this was a Apple event on October 30th, 2023. And I'm Roger Harmon. So I forgot to take that slide out. All right, so all of the promotional material, the graphics for the Scary Fast event were kind of different here, kind of all in different shades of black and gray. Even the Happy Mac face looked a little ominous there. So this was a lot of firsts here. It happened at 5 in the evening, which was 8 o'clock Eastern time. So everything was dark. So, and there's a lot of little Easter eggs in here. So you'll notice over here, we have this ominous looking black bird flying in. And so this is an aerial view of the center of the Apple spaceship campus. And as we zoom in, we noticed here a pirate flag that's flying here from a post. So another little reference to Halloween. And of course, Tim Cook started off with his usual recap of where Apple is. And he didn't stay on there too long, but he talked about the new Apple Silicon, which is the M3, the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max chips. Then we have the new hardware, the MacBook Pro 14-inch and the MacBook Pro 16-inch, and of course the iMac 24-inch. So then we went into the underground in the Apple campus. Another reference to Halloween. Welcome to my lab. And he has an accent about like that. So these are the new chips. You can see the comparison. And these are all what they call SoC, system on a chip. So that means that the memory is integrated into the chip, which of course means you can't upgrade your memory after you buy the computer. So you need to get what you need when you buy it. So here is a recap. So this part blows me away. The M1 has 25 billion transistors. The I should say the M3 has 25 billion. The M3 Pro has 37, and the M3 Max has 92 billion transistors. And they can do that because they're using a 3 nanometer technology. And it's providing up to 2.5 times faster GPU rendering. And they have a faster 16-core neural engine. And for the gaming people, they have mesh shading and hardware accelerated ray tracing. So these are the specs that you can get. So on the M3, you can get an 8-core CPU, a 10-core GPU, and up to 24 gigabytes of memory. You can see here the other specs for the other chips, with the M3 Max giving a total of 128 gigabytes of memory if you have that much money. So then they started talking about the new MacBooks, which have 2 of them have 22 hours of battery life. And they are the world's best laptop display. They also introduced a new color called Space Black. And of course, they have the MagSafe connector. So here's the recap of the new MacBooks. They have a 6-speaker sound system with spatial audio. You can get them in a 14-inch or a 16-inch. They will come with Sonoma. They have advanced cooling. They come with a Magic keyboard with Touch ID. And you can see the high-end model, the M3 Max, will support up to 4 monitors. And they do come with a SD card slot, Thunderbolt 4, and an HDMI slot. So lots of power there if you need it. So here's the rundown. The 14-inch with just the M3 chip is available in space gray and silver. And you'll notice here that the MacBook Pro with the Pro chip, the battery is reduced to 18 hours. And that is because it's smaller and probably has more heat. And then the 16-inch comes in the space black or silver, and it's back up to the 22 hours. And you can see here that the M3 14-inch only supports one monitor, external monitor. So they start at $15.99, which is sort of a price decrease, but there's been a lot of chatter on the internet because it comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM, which a lot of people are saying is too little for a machine that's called a Pro. And the 14-inch comes in at $19.99, and the 16-inch starts at $24.99. So another little reference here to Halloween, the little skull and the glass globe. And isn't this a nice setup? Wouldn't you like to have this in your living room, as you can see here? So I guess we know what this guy's life is all about. And another little reference to Halloween, we have an owl perched here on the balcony railing. Then we come to the new 24-inch iMacs, still in all of the colors that the last iMac came in. And they are 2.5 times faster than the Intel-based 27-inch iMac. And they're 4 times faster than the Intel-based 21.5-inch iMac. So here we have the features. They come with the one of the newest versions of Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3, and basically has a seamless experience between your iMac and your iPhone. It has studio quality mics, and you have to be careful on the Touch ID because the entry-level model does not have Touch ID and only has 2 ports on it. So if you're in the market for a 24-inch iMac, make sure you get the second level if you want Touch ID and 4 ports. They come with color-matched keyboards and mice, a 6-speaker sound system, and a nice 1080p FaceTime camera. And they start at $12.99. So again, this is the basic model with only 2 ports. Well, actually has 2 Thunderbolt ports, and they count the Thunderbolt ports again as USB ports. But it does not have the Touch ID. So if you want Touch ID on your keyboard, you start at $14.99. And if you want more storage, you go up to 512 gigabytes of storage. That starts at $16.99. So speccing out a iMac 24-inch with a 1 terabyte of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM, that comes out with a Magic Keyboard with a numeric keypad with Touch ID. That comes out at $19.29. So that's more of a practical specification. But you could buy an M2 Mac Mini and a 27-inch monitor. So with a Mac Mini and a 27-inch monitor, I just looked at Amazon today. So this one is $200. So that brings the Mac Mini at $14.09 plus $200. So you can have a Mac Mini with the same specs larger screen for 1609. So that's something to think about if you are in the market for a new Mac. And of course, there are probably going to be some more deals on Black Friday for monitors. So keep that in mind. And then at the very end, this slide came up, which pointed out that the event was shot on an iPhone and edited on a Mac. And down here, which you may or may not be able to read, it says all presenters, locations, and drone footage was shot on an iPhone 15 Pro Max. So that was very impressive. So, any questions?
I have a comment or two. First, you talked about 3 nanometer process. I just looked up how thick is a human hair in nanometers, and that comes out to 80 to 100,000 nanometers. 3 nanometers is really, really, really small. And the other thing is, I don't recommend buying the lowest end Mac or iPhone, anything. Always bump it up something. Those are sometimes referred to the end cap products that they put on the end cap of the aisle. Oh, look at this. Look how inexpensive it is. And then you just look down the aisle a little bit. Oh, for just a little bit more money, I can get so much more. So don't buy the lowest end. Other than that, unless there's other questions, I want to thank Roger for all of his work. It looks like Chris has a question.
Yeah, 2 quickies. One, that low-end machine often goes into labs in schools and stuff, and they end up further discounting it too, by the way. So it's not for the likes of us. Second thing is, one of the iPhone photography sites I follow actually went through and showed all the stuff that Apple used. Well, what they did was they dissected the About movie that Apple did about how they made the movie on iPhone. You may have seen it on Mac Rumors or something. A lot of that equipment like rents for $25,000 a day. And there's a lot of high-end video stuff that they just simply put the iPhone 15 into in terms of the cages and stuff. But to think that, oh, I'm going to get the same footage they did with the fly-ins with the fog and stuff like that. No. I mean, you're not going to do that. We're not going to do that ourselves but yes, the video capabilities are amazing. But just to kind of keep in mind, they still used a video production studio. And apparently they said an event like that usually runs about $1 million. Now, I don't know, I find that a little bit flabbergasting, but maybe it was the 2-hour version or something as opposed to the one we saw. So there's apples and oranges when it comes to video production.
Literally.
Absolutely.
And one other item to think
ahead.
about as far as storage, the 256 gig is not a very fast storage, and everybody online recommends at least 512 gig as far as speed goes.
Agreed. And as far as volume goes as well, Melissa put into the chat a link to where you can see the behind the scenes video for the Scary Fast keynote. And here you can see, here's an iPhone 15 Pro Max on the end of this big boom that zooms in and pushes in and so forth. They're taking a $1,500 camera phone and attaching it to hundreds of $1,000s worth of equipment, just as Roger said, to make this video. But still, it's very interesting. You ought to watch it.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
It was somebody taking that video apart and saying, well, this is what it costs to actually rent one of those and do that. So.
Okay. Any other questions for Roger or about the Scary Fast event?
Bob, I
No.
also put a link in there about has anybody ever watched the Mythbusters?
Yes.
Yes.
If you're familiar with that show, Adam Savage was one of the hosts. He now has a YouTube channel where it's called Adam Savage is Tested. And what Ridge was talking about earlier, where they did an MRI of the USB-C cable. That video that I linked there, you'll get to watch them actually do the scan and go and look at all the different colors and layers, and they change the contrast, and it's actually quite fascinating to watch that. And there's other videos on that. I haven't seen them yet. I only watched a portion of that MRI of the cable and thought it was really cool. And there's other videos where they must also dissect and look at things like Vision Pro and AirPods and comparing them against fake things. So the point is there's some Adam Savages out there doing some myth busting on some Apple gear, and that's what reminded me of that when Chris talked about it. So yeah, it looks really great, but there is a little bit of smoke and mirrors going on.
Well, a little bit of smoke and mirrors with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, one final thought. I
Yeah.
needed to go by the Apple store because my wife was shopping next door at J. Jill's, so I felt compelled to go into the Apple store. And I actually looked at the iMacs, and I have to say that, you know, if it's in your budget and you want an all-in-one system and you want a 24 that you're going to get a lot closer to, you got smaller desk space because it's a whole different viewing angle than the 37 I'm looking at right now. You know, I'd be way up here on a 24, but it is a very slick machine. Very nice sound system, very, very nicely put together. So whether or not you get what you pay for is in the eyes of you as the purchaser and your budget. But you know, if it is, it's a lovely solution. I mean, the colors are great, and the machine performs beautifully. So,
just this monitor is pretty darn good.
Yeah, also one thing to note on the new iMacs, how the base model doesn't come with USB or with Ethernet, and it stays at the middle and the higher end does. Ethernet is not on the computers, it's in the AC power block on those, which I thought was kind of interesting when I've set them up.
Yeah, they just want to have this one wire that goes over the end of the desk. And if they could eliminate that, they would.
They would do it, yeah.
Okay. Then we're going to move into the Geek gift guide for 2023. And I am going to present that. So here we go. Let's see if I can share the screen for that. There it is. Share. And you should be seeing it now.
Yep.
Yep.
And I want to let you know that the prices listed were at the date of me putting this together. And a lot of them are at Amazon, and you know that the prices can change. And we're coming up to the Black Friday specials. Also, I need you to understand that this presentation is a little heavy on the iPhone side because I purchased a new iPhone this fall to replace my iPhone 10. Did I need to replace the iPhone 10? No, not really. If I put a battery in it, it gets a few more years out of it, but I really wanted one. And I want to thank everybody who added to this with their suggestions. And a lot at the bottom of the page, there'll be a credit line for suggestions for those that I remembered to put in there. There might be some that I have forgotten to include, and I apologize for that. But we're going to start off with a a suggestion from Kurt Blanchard to let us know about mobility computing. So the first thing is an Anchor power bank for your phone with foldable USB-C. 500 milliamp portable charger for only $30. Not bad. Anchor is a brand that I recommend and I use a lot of. Here we have a Pebble Bee, I think is what you call that, an item tracker. Basically, it is a Apple AirTag that's shaped like a credit card. And it's water resistant and it is rechargeable. And this was suggested by Dave Hamilton and the Mac Geek Gab. We're going to have several suggested by Chuck Joyner. And he's a backpack kind of guy. And he really appreciates this backpack. And it has customizable storage shelves, luggage pass-through. And it's only $191 at the time I checked it out. Now, also, this is suggested by Derek Story, our presenter for September, our guest presenter for September. And he travels a lot, and he really likes this carry-on closet. This is small enough to be a carry-on in an airplane, and he was able to pack for a 10-day trip into this one thing, and he didn't have to have any checked luggage. But $345, that's a little outside my budget, considering I haven't been on a plane for about 8 or 10 years. If you're an AirTag kind of guy or gal, you're gonna want a holder for it. This was just again suggested by Chuck Joyner with a metal snap ring key ring. 4 of them for $8. If you are trying to get away from carrying a MacBook Pro and you really like your iPad, you might want to consider getting the Apple Magic Keyboard for iPad, and it turns it into almost a MacBook Pro. But they are $340. Again, it's a Chuck Joyner suggestion. I think I'd like to have his credit card. Here's something suggested by Chuck Joyner, and I endorse it as well. I think that everybody with an iPhone should have a tempered glass protector over the screen. Here at our house, we have had a iPhone get dropped and the tempered glass protector gets cracked, but the screen does not. And you get 2 of them for $8, and it goes on so well with this little mounting jig that holds it, and you just put it in there and you put your phone in there and it lines it right up for you. Again, Chuck Joyner, he likes this Spigen magnetic mag armor mag fit case with military grade protection, and it's only $20. Some people like pop sockets. I picked this one because it is a pop wallet and pop socket case for your iPhone.
And because I have that exact same one, you know that.
Well, I picked the one in lavender thinking of you, Melissa.
I know you did. And I have that exact same one, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So there you have an endorsement by our own Mac Mommy. This one was suggested by Dave Hamilton. And this was suggested by our own Kurt Blanchard. Kurt and his wife both have iPads that they use in the evening while they are watching TV and so forth. And they really like this grip for tablets. And it's only $15. Now, there's a few here by Dave Hamilton of Mac Geek Gab. He is a guy who, when he travels, and he travels a fair amount, he takes a MacBook Pro with him, but it doesn't have enough screen real estate. Here's a portable monitor, 4K, that he endorses with speakers and a smart cover and so forth, and it's only $240. If 240 is not within your budget, how about a 1080p portable monitor for 130 by ViewSonic? If you are using the monitor to color grade a movie, a video you're making, or do high-end photographic work, this is probably not the one you want. But if you just need it for tool palettes or reading your email or something like that, this might be the right suggestion for you. This one is suggested by Susan Clement from TMUG, the Worky 15-in-1 home portable office. It includes a whiteboard and place for your MacBook, and it charges it up and so forth, and it folds up into a little briefcase. Not sure this is something for me, but it might be the right thing for you. Again, we want to take some extra power with this. Here's a portable charger with 200 milliamps of power. And the thing I like about it is that the display tells you how much power is left in it. And it has USB-C, so it's compatible with the newest iPhones. Also, you should sometimes need to charge your Apple Watch while you're on the go. Here's something that you can help you do that for only $17, 1,000 milliamp hours. Probably charge your Apple Watch a couple times.
Hmm.
And this is suggested by Chuck Joyner again. He likes this case for his MacBook Pro. It's a hard plastic shell, and it appears to have stops at 45, 90, and 135 degrees. One of the things that with the tight tolerances of MacBooks these days, there is a tendency for the oils on your fingers to get on the keys, and then when you close the MacBook, it transfers from the keys up to the screen, giving you a less than ideal viewing circumstance. But here is a microfiber liner that's thin enough to fit between the keyboard and the display and still allow it to close, or $11 to keep that nasty oils away from the screen. Thank you, Chuck Joyner. And Susan Clement again suggests that a ultra thin keyboard skin cover. This may not help you with the oils from your fingertips, but it could also help, but it could really help you with potato chips, pretzels, and maybe even the Pepsi syndrome, if anybody here remembers that. That Saturday Night Live skit about the Pepsi syndrome. And I have one of those on my MacBook Air.
And I have one of those on my 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Okay. What about the 15, the 14, and the 13-inch MacBook Pros, Ridge?
I don't have those sizes. Oh, I have a 13, and it's the one that the TMUG owns, and that's got one of those skins for the keyboard.
Yep.
And I've got a 13-inch MacBook Air with the M2 chip in it that's got one of those keyboard skins on it as well.
Yeah, for all of like the skins and the covers and so forth. If you follow the link to Amazon, Make sure you're getting the one that's going to fit your device. I don't guarantee any of that. Okay. Again, Dave Hamilton, who is also not only a podcaster, but he's a musician, and he is very critical about sound. And he has found these wireless earbuds, noise canceling, and smart charge with a case. And these are only $296 for the set. Here's another set that's about half the price. And it has true wireless and noise canceling, and has this little display on the side by JBL. We always want to keep our stuff charged, and here is a portable charger for 100 watts capacity, 225,600 milliamps, and it is a see-through battery pack. And you have a bunch of choices as to how to get the power in and get the power out for $229. Now we're going to move into connectivity, and there's a fair amount of overlap between these categories, but let's take a look here. Again, it's because I have a iPhone 15 that moved over to USB-C, and here's how to get sound out of there and into something that has the regular 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter plug on it. And I have a pair of these, and they work just fine. This was suggested by Bob Doms, and welcome, Bob Doms, to move photos and other documents from your computer to your iPhone and back again. So this has a USB-A connector and a Lightning connector. This is not the exact one that Bob suggested, but it's the one I found on Amazon that I think does the same thing. 128 gigabytes, $30. We always have more stuff to plug into our computers than we have places to plug it. Kevin suggested this $22 USB-C hub, an adapter, and it allows you to pass the power through into your USB-C item. And it has 4 ports, 2 of them USB-C and 2 of them USB-A. This is not a really high-speed solution, but it can do it for you if you are not doing video and so forth. Here's one, it's a Thunderbolt 4, where the data is going to move a lot faster. The CalDigit Ethernet hub. No. CalDigit Element hub, not Ethernet.
Thunderbolt.
And this one's $200, suggested by Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast. Dave Hamilton bought some Apple USB-C to USB-C cables and some inexpensive ones from Amazon, and I think ones from OWC as well. And he found that these cables for $18 were just as good as the Apple ones at $180 as far as moving the data back and forth. So I bought a couple of these too. I bought a like a 3-footer and an 18-inch one. 40 gigabytes data transfer. Now, next to the chair in front of the TV, we have a place to plug stuff in. Well, it used to be sometimes we needed micro USB, sometimes we needed Lightning, but now we need USB-C as well. So we have a cable from Anchor that does all 3. actually, does only one of them at a time. And you can plug the adapter tips onto the micro USB and get the one that you want. Now, the nice thing about Lightning and USB-C is that they are ambidextrous. There's no right side up and upside down. However, there is with micro USB. And if you look down the cable, you see how they're attached. These can swivel around. So you might have to be sure which way you're plugging them in. I purchased this and I like it, but I didn't like the fact that, gee, am I plugging it in the right way? So I have a bottle of nail polish with white nail polish, and I put little dots on the side so I can match them up and make sure that they will go together the first time I put them on there without bending something up. Now, the dots you see here are not the dots that I made with the white nail polish. These were photoshopped in there. But I found that that helps a lot for many things. Also, I have the luxury of having Apple CarPlay in my car that is corded, and I had to take the USB-A to Lightning cable out and put in a USB-A to USB-C cable in. I purchased these cords, $7 for 2 of them. They will stretch to 6 feet and they will collapse to 8 inches or something. And they work. Haven't had a problem with them yet. If you can't stand to plug your phone in the car because, oh my God, how inconvenient is that? You can get a wireless CarPlay kit for cars that only have wired CarPlay. And this was suggested by Adam Christensen of the MacCast podcast. And he tested it out and he says it works every time. So if you need that, this is what you need to get. Now that we're in that transition over to USB-C everything, we're going to need some dongles and some adapters. And here's some adapters from Anker that I have purchased. And again, Anker I have trusted for many years. And I like these so well, I now have 4 of them. And a pack of 2 is $11. iPhone 15s do not come with a wall wart to plug them in. Thank you, the European Union. Here's one from Anker that is a fast charger for $11. I've tried it. I bought this as well. I've tried it out and it does seem to charge things faster for my iPhone. So you might need one of those as well. Now, looking at a few things for security. Is this security? Maybe yes, maybe no. But it's a power strip surge protector with 8 AC outlets and 4 USB outlets, one of them being USB-C. I have purchased a couple of these and they are in service and everything seems to be good. And this was suggested by Melissa Davis, and I purchased a set of these for our home. We have one watching our front door, so we know when Amazon and UPS and FedEx and Airborne and everybody comes and leaves us a package, and we don't have to worry about porch pirates because we go out there and pick it up right away. No monthly fee, motion only alert, and it's supposed to pick up humans and disregard other things. Except last night at about 11:30, it found a bird that flew past the camera and alerted to that. But we like them. We have one in the front and one in the back, and the one in the back is turned off except when we are out of the house. Now, oftentimes when you get to an airport or a hospital or some public place, there'll be places for you to plug in to charge your stuff. There have been reports that on the other side of that outlet, there's somebody listening in to you at Starbucks. These little devices are USB-A to USB-A, and they will pass power, but they will not pass data. So if there's somebody listening on the other side, they're not going to get into your phone, your computer, your pad, and get your valuable information. Now, household and kind of a catch-all of stuff. Here is something I didn't know they made. I don't think I need one, but if you need a smart bot to switch on a switch, a physical switch, they do make one for $30. It actually will switch the switch on or switch the switch off, and it works with HomeKit. I would think that I would just buy a switch that works with HomeKit or the A lady, but here you can have one that actually physically switches the switch. This is more for our friends, maybe including Marty, who lives in Ohio and points north. Sometimes you need a jump start, and here's a jump starting device for your car for $100. And this one was suggested by Adam Christensen of the MacCast, and he lives in North freaking Dakota, I think, and it does get cold there. And if you need to jump, this would be a good thing to have. Here's something that I purchased that I didn't think I really needed, but I purchased it anyway. It's an Apple Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. This requires a Mac with Apple Silicon. And this one was, it's normally at $200. It's a renewed one at Amazon for $160. And it has the Touch ID key on it. And I didn't realize how many times I had to put in a code or a password or something, and found that this is really helpful. I like it a lot. And suggested by Jerry Cedarquist of TMUG, a clock that you can read, and a clock that stays up to date because it uses radio waves to attach to the atomic clock standards, and it sets itself. And I think that it says fits any decor. I think there's some that it might not fit, but most it will fit. And it looks like something you can read. As long as you are over 25. Melissa, do your kids understand analog clocks?
I'd have to ask them. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll go test them tonight.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
they struggle to read cursive, though.
Okay.
That's how I communicate behind their backs.
Here's something that you may not need. I don't think I need it. It's a 27-inch monitor, portable touchscreen on a stand. And full swivel rotation, 60 hertz refresh rate for only $1,000. This was suggested by our guest presenter for January, Jill from the North Woods. And she feels that having a speakerphone attachment for her iPhone makes it much more understandable for her and for the people she's talking to. So if you're having trouble with the speakerphone portion of your iPhone, maybe you want something like this. Something entered at almost the last minute. Affinity has a Black Friday sale. Everything is 40% off. And all the apps, all the platforms, all the subscription, no subscription, all of the add-on packs and stuff like that are 40% off. And it's for the Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, and Affinity Publisher. This is nearly as good as the Adobe counterparts. And I have purchased the version 1 of this stuff and version 2 of this stuff. They're very good products and a very reasonable price, especially when you compare it to Adobe Creative Cloud at $56 a month. You can get all 3 of these for $33 each and a free trial. They're good stuff.
Yes,
Who said that? Was that Jerry?
Jerry.
Okay. Here ends the reading from the gospel. Are there any questions?
Good list, Bob.
Thank you. It turned out to be more items than I thought it was going to be. Thanks for bearing with me. And are there any, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Stop share. Are there any questions? Oh, we have a few minutes left. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to share my screen with my iPhoto and show you the stuff that we have.
Don't forget the raffle, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kurt put the link for the the presenter stuff back in there. Okay, so here we have some stuff that is left still from the items that we got from the South Jersey Apple User Group president's daughter. And we have a very nice jeans jacket in extra, extra large. There's the front of the jacket. We have a nice we have a nice golf shirt in black. We have one of these left. This one is a Yum golf shirt in large. And here's a mock turtleneck in extra large. An Egghead software hat. Some South Jersey coffee mugs. An Apple mouse pad for anybody who still uses a mouse pad. And now we're getting into the posters. Mac Cube, G3, Mac OS X or 10, the Apple Cinema display. Kevin, do you still have one of these for sale? I think he might have.
No, I sold both of them.
Okay.
I think either that or I threw them out.
Power Mac G4, 17-inch PowerBook G4, Mac OS 8.5. This is going back a ways. This is my wife had one of these, and we called it the Creamsicle iMac or Creamsicle MacBook, iBook. PowerBook G4 Titanium and the Power Mac G4 Think Different. The iMac Yin Yang. early iPod, very early iPod. This is the first version. Yum poster. Do you have a wall that you want as paper with Yum posters? I think we have enough. And I think that's the end of that. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And I have put the link to that in to the chat. I'm going to put it in again. Paste. And you can have any of those items you want. FOB Bob's house. You can come and get them. You want me to mail them? I can mail them, but you got to pay the postage. So take a look at those and pick the ones you want and let me know, and I can mail them off to you in heavy duty tubes that they come in, and let me know. Are there any questions? And in that case, I think we're going to close the meeting.
After you draw the,
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank
save the
you.
chat.
And
And
save the
re-
chat. Yeah, I
And
got to do
remind
all these
people
things.
about filling in their feedback form.
And fill in the feedback form, because Kurt's going to put that back in the chat like now. I'm going to ask Dr. Marty to pick or actually, Marty, I'm going to ask you to ask your S lady to pick a number between 1 and 24. Can you do that for us? You're muted, Jerry. Marty.
Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 24.
A random number between 1 and 24 is 13.
13 is Bob Eldred. Bob, are you still with us? Okay. I'm nearly positive Bob is still there he is.
Still here.
Still here. And your membership is current, sir?
Yes, it is.
Then tomorrow I will look you up and send off a Apple gift card for $30 to your email address, thereby giving you a year's free membership, sort of, in TMUG. And now I'm going to save the chat again. Save chat. Okay. And send that off. Where did it go? It said show and finder. Save chat. Chat saves. Show and finder. Okay. All I've got is the Ask Me Anything chat. Somebody else save it, please. And email it off to Susan.
I've got it.
Thank you, Roger. So I hope that everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving and can share some time with family and don't watch too much football or eat too much turkey. And I'd also like to say that I'm thankful for all of the people that have helped make TMUG the success that it is, all of the officers and volunteers and all of our members and our generous guest speakers who have given so freely of their time to entertain us.
and
we're looking.
remember that it's hard to soar with eagles when you work with turkeys all day.
That's true. And the 3 watchwords of the Mac Geek Gab is don't get caught. Happy Thanksgiving. And
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay. Good night.
Bubble.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Night, Tommy.
Night, John.